What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If I've actually gotten a couple questions about this. If you've got your ATV torn apart, you're trying to figure out where your power cable goes, your ground cables, your battery cables, these grounds and stuff, and your starter solenoid and the wires that go to the starter and where they all go on your ATV. Hopefully we can make some sense of where all these wires go on our ATV, and you can get your ATV going again and back on the track. So there are a couple different wires that you'll have on your ATV. You've obviously got your ground wires that will go from the battery to a ground position on the ATV, like to the frame or to the engine case itself. And you've got wires that will go from the battery to give you power to your starter solenoid, or from there to your starter. From there you have that going back to the battery. This is just from some random ATV, but that's a battery connector. That's a solenoid. And then this would go to your starter, right? Let's see if we can figure all this out, this rat's nest of wiring, and see what it looks like on an ATV. I'm gonna have extra wiring in here because I also have my winch connected up back here. So these extra ones here are going to my winch, but you do have your main ground and your main positive in here. You've got a main cable here, the thick red one, that is going to go to, I gotta move this out of the way so we can see what we're doing here. You've got this main red wire that's gonna go over here to your starter solenoid, and then from the starter solenoid, that red wire is going to go over to your starter down in there. And you'll see there's also a ground on the starter as well. That black wire is also going to be going into this main harness, which will go to your ECU as well, down here, and that will plug into your ECU. It will go from there, splitting off onto a lot of other connections all around the ATV. Some ATVs will have a ground that connects onto one of the case bolts somewhere on the engine, but this one's got it going to the starter, so you have a positive and a ground running to that. Your main positive cable is going to be from your battery positive terminal to your starter solenoid, from the starter solenoid to your starter, and then if you have a winch, you're going to connect that to your positive. You're going to run that up. Your winch solenoid will have a positive and a ground, as well as two other wires on your winch solenoid, and then obviously those run down to your winch. So you've got that there if you have a winch. Then also from this main wiring harness, you'll have a plug that comes out to the coil wire right here, and then from here this is running over to your spark plug to get power to your spark plug. Also from your wiring harness, you'll have these connections here. You've got your stator connector, and then you've got all these connections up here on the throttle body. You'll need to make sure that those are all connected properly. But anyways, I hope that helps you out. You've got your positive going from your battery to a starter solenoid, and from the starter solenoid to the starter. And then you should have a terminal that goes to the starter, and you should have another end that will go to your battery. So hopefully that makes some sense on your ATV, so you can figure this out when you're putting it back together. A terminal from the positive to the starter solenoid, from there to the starter itself. You should have an end that will connect to the battery, and then on your wiring harness there should be another end that you will connect to the starter itself. That should be like a grounding to the case connection. So hopefully that makes some sense. Hopefully I can edit this together to actually make some sense. You've also got other connections like your ECU or your ECM units. You need to make sure those are connected in. You've got a whole bunch of other things. Your temp plug, your speed sensor, gear position sensor. You've got all these throttle body plugs. If you've changed or unplugged any of those plugs on the throttle body, you'll need to check out this video. Make sure to sync your EFI system after doing that. Make sure to check that your spark plug is connected and that coil wire over there is also connected. You've got your tilt sensor, lights, you've got brakes, and you've got your power steering if your ATV has that. So make sure all of your connections are plugged in good and that you can hear that click on the little plugs. If you don't hear a click when you're putting these plugs together, your clip might be broken, so you need to replace your plug or get creative, use some zip ties or tape to hold it together. You can also go through the fuses to make sure those are good. Make sure you've got good fuses, none of them are blown or anything like that. You can check out this video. And if you want to know where all these plugs are, I go through all of these plugs and how to dielectric grease them in this video up here. I'll link it up above. You can go through, dielectric grease them all, find all the different plugs all over the ATV, make sure you've got them all connected. So hopefully this gets your ATV going again. If you have any other questions, be sure to leave them down in the comments below. Subscribe, follow along, and I'll see you in this video next. I'm also going to have extra wiring in here because I've got, hey look, I've got an LED bar in here.